Alright, let's talk about none other than Van Rysel. In cycling, we're used to the same names dominating. Pinarello in the Tour, Colnago with Pogacar, specialised in the one-day races. But in the last couple of years, something surprising's happened. A brand from Decathlon. They've gone from budget aluminium frames to delivering one of the fastest bikes in the World Tour. Van Rysel. The name literally means from Lille, the French capital of Flanders. Now, just kilometres from the cobbles of Roubaix, in a land where cycling isn't just a sport, it's culture, the brand launched in 2019, positioned as Decathlon's performance line. But by 2024, it was everywhere. None other than Ben O'Connor rode the RCR Pro to second at the World Championships, behind Pogacar and ahead of Van der Poel.
First of all, it's the Van Rysel RCR, running a size large. They were pretty in-depth with how they went about creating the first prototypes, because I think they kind of bought every World Tour frame. They tested every single one in the wind tunnel. We went and saw actually Decathlon's kind of factory in Lille, and it was pretty interesting seeing the other testing to do with rigidity, compliance, all those kind of things. So it's pretty cool to see then the final product that's coming out. It's kind of like a road bike, aero bike. It's kind of like a slash between two, and clearly from the wind tunnel data that we've seen, it's up there, in that top 5, top 3. That includes other aero bikes from other companies. So it was pretty cool to see all that. So yeah, loving kind of being on it.
And AG2R Le Mondial rebranded as Decathlon AG2R. They took 30 wins in a single season, and this wasn't supposed to happen for a retail brand. So how did it? Van Rysel built their reputation on data and partnerships. They didn't pretend to have all the answers in-house. Instead, they went to the experts. Aerodynamics, they linked up with SwissSide, the aero specialists.
Today we're in Germany alongside our partner SwissSide, and we'll be doing some wind tunnel testing with 2 of our riders. The bike is all set up and we're ready to start, but you'll notice that the fan is actually behind the rider and not in front. And that's to avoid turbulence, so we get more precise and consistent measurements. We tested many different combinations of helmet, bike position to gather data and help us decide what is the best setup for this special stage.
Optics, they tapped up ZEISS to make their top tier lenses. And for frame development, they literally walked across the street in Lille to ONERA, the aerospace lab that usually works on rockets and drones. Together, they used CFD and wind tunnel testing to create what became the RCR Pro. And this is what makes Van Rysel quite fascinating. On one hand, it's backed by Decathlon, a €15 billion giant, and on the other hand, it's presenting itself like a challenger brand. Lean, fast, data-driven, and priced aggressively compared to the other big players. Now, Van Rysel isn't just hardware, they've become a kit brand too.
Of safety equipment, you are going to need to get yourself a helmet. This one again is from Van Rysel, it's the RCR F. It's quite an expensive one. They offer a load of different cheaper ones as well.
Supplying helmets, glasses, and the distinctive cosmic motif jerseys for Decathlon's AG2R. They're not outsourcing identity, they're building a complete ecosystem from bike to bibs. It is coming through that it's functional, fashionable, and cheap enough that some riders say they won't pay hundreds for a jersey, but be ready for slim fits and occasional availability headaches. Now, culturally, Van Rysel has gone from being seen as the Decathlon option, functional but not aspirational, to one of the most talked about names in the peloton. It's rare you see a brand move that fast in cycling, and it speaks to how perception can shift when the product delivers. And here's where Van Rysel gets interesting. On the positive side, they make cycling more attainable. Their kit, helmets and glasses also undercut rivals while still carrying pro-level performance. And that means more for riders, from weekend warriors to ambitious club racers. These guys can actually access gear at the sharp end of the sport. But of course, there is a flip side. When you buy from Van Rysel, you're not supporting your local bike shop or an independent builder. You're feeding into the Decathlon beast, a €15 billion retail machine. And while that scale is what makes pricing possible, some in the cycling community see it as another step away from culture of craft and local connection that built the sport in the first place. Van Rysel has also nailed the modern playbook, smart influencer marketing beyond the World Tour spotlight. They've partnered with the likes of Dan Jones, who translate that pro tech into everyday riding and make the brand feel a little bit more approachable. Those creator-led rides, a day-in-the-life pieces, and the first look gear features hit the audience that race coverage misses.
So I'm currently in the edit and I just saw a video from Max Wilcox which fits into this segment really well.
I've only ever seen people kind of given the bikes. I think that's quite interesting because I thought about that last night before coming to the ride. I was like, actually, that's a good point. You know, Duke given a bike, the Cade Media boys kind of obviously sponsor the channel. You know, Dan Jones, sponsored by Van Rysel, got chain suck, got his bike replaced. I then went on Van Rysel's Instagram last night to try and find someone that rides an RCR or an RCRF, just to like ask them some questions. And the first person I saw, I was like, oh, hey mate, like, did you buy your bike? He's like, no, it's being lent to me. So they do a good job of getting their bike out there. I just don't personally, and I've raced quite a lot, and I've been to quite a few events. I haven't seen many. So my musing is, because they're quite, apparently, you know, they sell out. So in the UK, I haven't seen a huge amount. I've seen some, not many. Who's buying these? Where are they?
Of course, some will ask the question, is this really a cycling miracle or just Decathlon flexing its resources? Because you could argue that Van Rysel has the easiest path of all, unlimited R&D budget, global retail distribution, and no need to survive purely off bike sales. That's a huge advantage compared to the boutique builders or even legacy brands who live and die on margins. But I think in summary, Van Rysel's story is proof that cycling is shifting a little bit. You don't need a century of heritage or a logo that's been on the Tour winners since the 80s. You need speed, data, and riders who believe so. So what do you think? Is Van Rysel redefining what a cycling brand can be, or will they always carry that Decathlon shadow? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let me know if you're a fan of Van Rysel or not. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the cycling brands that are shaping cycling culture.